No, when I can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Like, not even
Just a regular? Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Just a regular?
A regular
Absolutely.
meeting. Okay, but, so those are your, so we want to put it forward for very simple.
No, Chris keeps me supplied. And they're the good ones.
Like, for next meeting, when I send an email, I say, well, this is there, my.
Few more minutes?
I don't set it like on the agenda. I don't know, like, when I was young, I just have questions. Okay, so just a baby. Okay,
Oh, yeah, you want to hear?
Oh, yes. Sorry, that vote. Okay, so it's back on the floor. Got it. So if it's not equal to 2/3, then it stops. But I can still add it for 6 months. What? No, but I can still add it on to, like, what my item onto the next agenda. No. If you have a notice of motion, the easiest thing to do is just put it on there. If you do a motion, yeah, that's the problem. Then that motion will not be the motion that I'm making is to make it to the agenda. I understand that. Like, I'm asking you now to change the agenda. So, it's not the item that.
No, it's not you're revisiting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. I will.
Unless I need.
Yeah. Yes. And so, very simple.
Yeah. Notice of motion that's administration providing counsel.
Just know what I'm at right now. Notice of motion to change the current.
That's what,
so that would be my notice of motion to reconsider. So you want to give a motion to consider motions. Okay. Yeah, that part I know. So it's, I can make the motions, right? Yeah, it's a motion. Yeah, reconsider because I mean I was gonna put it on the agenda initially, and then I said, well, I could ask it pertaining to tone subdivision, but it isn't the same, so I want to just add, put back that item that I never said, right? Because I said I was gonna ask it. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
Yeah. I just want to put my item back because I was going to take it out. Like I was going to ask my question. Motion to. Is that in Robert's rules?
It's in our calendar.
To change the agenda or to add an agenda?
It's just, it's not that, it's not to add, it's
I'm not in the agenda. So I would make when you ask me to a motion to reconsider the event,
yeah, the motion to reconsider.
Yeah.
The motion to settle the agenda as amended.
Yeah.
So you want to make a motion to reconsider.
Yeah.
The motion to pass the agenda.
Yeah, I don't Okay.
Because they could fire.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll just skim through this one we're talking about right now.
Because you can look at it.
Right. Yeah. Okay, how do I write it down here?
So you don't have to do a motion to make our motion reconsider.
Okay.
Notice of motion.
Okay, well, I don't need notice motion, I will send, if I can just make a motion, okay, good. I will do that and when you call. Okay, so this is what's happening. When you allow to.
As soon as we're done with this.
Yeah, I will say, I'd like to make a motion for reconsideration so that I can edit my.
We'll put the notes down.
Yeah, reconsider the approved bylaw right now, or the approved agenda as amended, and then so that I can put my agenda item on.
Does that come as a second? If it all looks good, then does she have to make a motion?
She doesn't have to make a motion for what she wants on there, but the motion, the agenda is now re-amended, it's re-amended, so that has to be voted on. So her motion to reconsider has to be voted on and requires a 2/3 vote, okay? That's just a motion to reconsider that motion, and that motion never happened. Just like this vote never happened, okay?
Got that.
Then she can go ahead and she say, I'd like to have such and such added to the agenda. And then I need a motion to accept the agenda now as amended.
Okay.
One vote.
One vote to reconsider, that requires the 2/3, and then a vote to vote, I need a vote.
Like I just
on
put-
the agenda. Yeah, as if it happened at the beginning of the meeting.
It opens it,
Yes.
Yeah,
then you put it on.
yeah,
Then you need a vote.
Vote
Yeah.
to, okay, thank you.
so,
And
opens
Christine,
it,
keep it straight.
so motion to reconsider, voted, yes, and then I will add my agenda item.
No, motion to reconsider, if that opens, if that passes, then you can add your item.
Sure,
Okay, it needs 2/3.
okay, well, it's,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Tricia, you ready?
Give me 30 seconds.
All right. I will call the meeting back to order. Administration.
Okay, Mayor, Deputy Members of Council, to answer the previous
Oops.
question that was asked, the difference between bylaw 3-24, where the debt limit remaining was $1,861,924.70. At that time, the capital line of credit was sitting at $879,996. Move forward to the present one, where now our debt limit is sitting at $301,709.86. Our capital line of credit is sitting at $1,809,378.84. That is why there is a difference in the debt limit, because it considers what is owing on the lines of credit at the moment that the bylaw is presented to council for consideration.
So what is going on the capital line of credit for $900,000 that's not specified? Or $600,000, pardon me, or,
It's $1 million.
yeah,
That was work that we had to pay for the South development.
what's that, like Tim Hortons?
The 4.5 acres plus the decel and XL decel lanes and the work that was done on that road.
Where's that?
Those
documented?
those costs were all in the accounts payable listing. And the
Just now?
capital line of credit was set up for use for those kinds of items.
How come you didn't have this information when I asked? I'm just not, like, the numbers do not add up at all.
I put the numbers into the format that the province provides me,
Uh-huh.
and this is the result that I get.
But when you're reporting to council on one item, i.e. bylaw 324, and you say that we have $1.8 million of borrowing capacity, and don't specify that that is on the line of credit.
I didn't specify that it was on the line of credit. I specified that at the time that bylaw 3-24 was done, the line of credit sat at $879,996. Between the time of preparing bylaw 3-24 and the time that preparing bylaw 6-24, there were some funds that were expended for the South development that were taken out of the capital line of credit. If I did not report that properly, I would be misinforming mayor and council. It is immaterial that they happened at the same meeting. I calculated it as the time I was preparing the documents for council consideration.
Jane, you think?
We have a motion on the floor.
All in favor?
Oh, no, I would like recorded. Is this recorded vote, please?
All opposed? Third reading? I'll make a motion for third reading. All in favor?
Recorded, please.
All opposed? 7.3, bylaw ALT 7-24, short-term borrowing bylaw.
Mayor, deck members of council, the purpose of this report is to respectfully request that council give consideration to establishing a revolving line of credit, which the town has had for many years, which needs to be renewed annually, that can be utilized to offset operating expenses by adopting the short-term borrowing bylaw ALT 7-24. Administration is proposing that the town of Gibbons establish a revolving line of credit with Service Credit Union to cover possible shortfalls where incoming cash flows do not or may not meet short-term spending needs. In most cases, rather than liquidating investments, it makes better financial sense to merely undertake short-term borrowing by way of an authorized revolving line of credit. The negotiated line of credit is available year-round and generally will be used in situations where there is a gap between the beginning of the business year and when the full tax collection cycle begins in specific situations where short-term capital funds are required so the town can take advantage of opportunities that prevent themselves from time to time without having to exhaust funds held in reserves. Further, to be able to utilize a revolving line of credit may significantly reduce the cost of borrowing, as the town will only pay for what it uses versus having to pay the full-term interest owing on debentures, even if the town is in a position to retire the principal ahead of schedule. It is important to note that there are minimal to no standby charges or administration fees for having a standing line of credit in place, and that the town will only pay for the actual usage when funds are accessed. Although it is not anticipated that the revolving line of credit will be utilized frequently, it is prudent to have our borrowing bylaw in place in order to protect our investments and to help the town to control our interest costs on short-term projects wherever possible. Administration is requesting that council give consideration to giving all three readings, or the first reading only, to bylaw ALT 7-24 short-term borrowing bylaw as it is presented with no changes other than the technical details, i.e. update bylaw numbers and dates.
Council Barry.
I move that council proceed with the establishment of a revolving line of credit in the amount of $1 million by giving bylaw ALT 7-24 short-term borrowing bylaw first reading.
Any comments, questions? Amber?
I'm sorry, at the beginning when you were informing council what this is for, you had said that this is renewed?
Yes.
Every year.
Okay, well, it doesn't say renewed. This says establishing
That's
a line
how
of
it's
credit.
done.
Pardon?
That's how it's done. We don't renew, we establish a new bylaw every year.
you added renewed in though, when you were speaking, you did not put renewed in. Renewed is not in our agenda package.
I am informing council that this is renewing an existing bylaw. It has a new name and it has a new expiry date. It's for the same $1 million line of credit for operation that the town has had long before I ever came to Gibbons.
How come you didn't put renewed in here?
It's not renewing. It's brand new. She said we're renewing it as a new bylaw. And it's not renewable. It ends every year,
Okay,
and then we do a new bylaw.
all I'm saying is that it is confusing in the presentation because it seems like it's when we say establishing.
If I may narrate Councilor Harris, is that when she was reading the verbiage of the bylaw itself, but in essence, it's each year the bylaw, upon its conclusion, it actually terminates. And so it's the act of renewing or reliving or to re-engaging a new bylaw. In essence, the wording still has to say it's a brand new bylaw to use that establish a new one. But I understand what you're saying in a verbiage. You're saying renewing, and it doesn't reflect in the bylaw. But in reality, it's bringing forward to have this bylaw passed on its own phase, brand new.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual action from one year to the other is basically a simple process of renewal.
So I could go back this time last year or whenever the old bylaw expired, and it will have the. Okay, I do have another question, if I may, unless somebody else has.
Go ahead.
Okay, as of the end of 2022, I believe we had about $1.9 million that were used from the lines of credit that we have. How many lines of credit do we have right now?
2.
That's it, and it's about $4 million?
3.8.
Okay, where are we at right now? How much is used on those lines of credit?
Okay, I just had it before you. 1.8 on the capital line and 350,000 on the operating line.
Okay. All right, well, I'll do a little homework then. This is only.
All in favor?
No, hold on a second. Are we doing
You have
3
a
readings?
question? No,
Yeah, I
we aren't
do.
doing- We aren't doing 3 readings unless someone puts it to the floor. All in favor of the motion on the floor?
I would like a recorded vote, please.
All opposed?
I'll move second reading of bylaw alt 7-24.
All in favor?
Recorded, please.
All opposed?
I'll move for third reading.
No, you have to move to ask for the third.
Recorded, please.
I'll move to ask for third reading.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion is defeated. It has to be unanimous to have 3 readings. Bylaw alt 824, short-term borrowing.
Mayor, Deck, members of council, the purpose of this report is to respectfully request that council give consideration to adopting bylaw alt 8-24, establishing a revolving line of credit of $2.8 million that can be utilized to offset capital expenses by adopting the short-term borrowing bylaw alt 8-24. Administration is proposing that the town of Gibbons establish a revolving line of credit with Service Credit Union to cover off possible shortfalls where incoming cash flows do not or may not meet short-term spending needs. In most cases, rather than liquidating investments, it makes better financial sense to merely undertake short-term borrowing by way of an authorized revolving line of credit. The negotiated line of credit is available year-round and generally will be used in situations where there is a gap between the beginning of the business year and when the full tax collection cycle begins in specific situations where short-term capital funds are required. This bylaw is for capital purchases. so the town can take advantage of opportunities that present themselves from time to time without having to exhaust funds held in reserves. Further, to be able to utilize a revolving line of credit may significantly reduce the cost of borrowing, as the town will only pay for what it uses versus having to pay the full term interest owing on debentures, even if the town is in a position to retire the principal ahead of schedule. It is important to note that there are minimal to no standby charges or administration fees for having a standing line of credit in place, and that the town will only pay for the actual usage when funds are accessed. Although it is not anticipated that the revolving line of credit will be utilized, in our case, we are utilizing it. It is prudent to have our borrowing bylaw in place in order to protect our investments and to help the town to control our interest costs on a short-term project. Mayor, debt members of council, that is the capital borrowing bylaw. That is, we have 1.8 million in borrowings against this bylaw. And if you recall, during COVID, council adopted two bylaws, one for tax restructuring for $2 million and one for utilities restructuring for $1 million, which totaled $3 million. Last year, it was presented to council to do away with those two bylaws and consolidate it into one bylaw for $2.8 million for capital expenses only. This is the bylaw that administration is put before you and requesting first reading.
Lorraine?
I move that council proceed with the establishment of a revolving line of credit in the amount of $2.8 million by giving bylaw Alt 8-24 short-term borrowing bylaw first reading.
Questions? Amber?
If this is replacing an old bylaw, what's the old bylaw number? What old bylaw is this replacing?
I don't have the number off the top of my head. It would have been done last year about this time. So
Yes, please. I very much like that. My second question is, how much is in the reserves right now?
I don't have that on the top of my head, I'm sorry.
I would like that number. How much is in reserves? I've been here for 10 years, and from what I recall, 10 years ago, it was about $800,000. We don't know how, off the top of your head, how much is in reserves?
Mayor Deck, members of council, Councilor Harris, I also think that it deems worthwhile to identify when you talk about 800,000 in reserves. If I'm correct, about 550,000 of that was actually overcharged water to the Riverview or to the Riverside apartment building condo complex that we actually had to pay back because actually they were overbilled and we had to do that. And so of that reserves that we had, the majority was actually overcharged money. And we can provide council with an overall report on that. So we can do that in addition to the other bylaw numbers as well. So we can follow that up. Because I think it deems well to be able to say and tell people what the real information is on that case.
So administration can't answer how much is in reserves right now. How much do we have in the bank? That's my question.
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head how much we have in the bank. No. I see numbers all day long. I don't check the bank account daily.
Oh, okay, roughly.
I'd like to bring our attention back to the motion that we have on the table, and the conversation that is being conducted right now does not appear to have
Yes, it
anything
does,
to do
because
with
the
that.
reserves are noted in the administration discussion. It says, without having to exhaust funds held in reserves. I want to know how much is in reserves. This is significant and pertinent to the discussion.
I think it's about $500,000, if I recall from the capital budget.
Would it not be in the auditor, like in the audit, like the financial statements that?
The council that we had from 2022, but actually our 2023 audit is in process, so we don't have that finalized. We will certainly follow up with them, Mayor Deck, members of council. We'll follow up all the.
This is the same bylaw that we have
Okay.
asked for the last 6.5 years.
Yes, with the modification that we
With the
did with the
modification when
COVID.
we harmonized
Yeah.
the two.
You bet it is.
Yeah, I'm calling the question. All in favor?
Record it, please.
All opposed? First reading complete.
I'll move second reading of this bylaw.
All in favor?
Record it, please.
All opposed?
I'll make a motion for us to have third reading.
All in favor?
Record it, please.
All opposed? Motion is defeated. (1.5) Policy 82-24 Asset Management.
Mayor and members of council, the purpose of this report is to request that council adopts the attached policy to meet the requirements of the Government of Canada and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities grant that was applied for in October of 2021, as approved by Resolution of Council 21-307. Administration submitted the grant as directed by council. Approval from FCM was received in October of 2022, but the contributions agreement was not received for signatures until August 2023, with completion date of February 2024. The grant is for $48,000, and the town's contribution is $12,000. These funds have been budgeted for in the town's operating budget for 2022, 2023, and 2024. 5 members of staff have received their training through the asset management courses. The process of digitizing all of the town's land files is well underway. As of Friday, February the 23rd, the scanning of 1,658 property files was at 43.7% completed, and the digitization was at 24.6% complete. The project should be completed by the end of April. Once digitized, these files will form a part of the town's GIS system that the town implemented in 2023. After we go live, staff will have one-stop shop in accessing information on the town's asset, such as roads, water lines, hydrants, etc., and some information on the property files will also be available to the public soon. The item left to meet the requirements of the grant is for council to adopt this attached asset management policy. So what this means is the policy sets the tone for the town to move forward with an asset management plan, which is required under under provincial and federal legislation.
Jake?
I want to move forward the motion that council adopts asset management policy GA82-24 as presented.
So can I ask one little question? We're digitizing all our information. I'm sure it's being stored, and that's not my forte. I remember the days of taking tapes home. Okay? So is it on the cloud? Is it a secure server? Because that's all of our information for everything. And I'm sure we'll go paperless as time goes by with some of it. How do we, a very simple explanation on how we store this and store it properly, because this is going to be of significant value.
Yes, at the present moment, Mayor Deck, members of council, it is being stored on large cassettes. It is going to be going to the cloud once we get all the processes streamlined. And the hope is that as well, members of the public will be able to access part of the town's GIS system. So they will have some of that information, such as assessments, that sort of thing. But all of the other files will be accessible to members of staff that require it at one click.
Without going searching through.
We still have all the paper files.
Yeah.
And there's been months that have been staff cleaning, like streamlining our paper process.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Amber?
So the grant so basically it's $60,000 that we have in order to do the scanning and the, right? Now going forward, and I noticed that it was in the operating budget, previously, but going forward, how much is it gonna cost going forward? Or is this, do you understand what I'm saying? So we have $60,000 that is being spent right now in order to streamline. And then going forward, it's gonna cost us blank.
Mayor Neck, members of Councilor Harris, actually, once we get all the information digitized, as each piece of information that comes into the file, let's say by paper, it can be just basically scanned in and sorted in that file. Or if we receive files by that email or digital, they can just be filed to that folder on, online. So that'll just be an ongoing task.
So it'll be an upgraded filing system, really.
Then basically, once you have it all done, then the rest is just a day-to-day basis. As you get the information, you just file it there.
Same as when you added your Rolodex to your phone in your hand and got rid of your Rolodex. Thank you. All in favor?
No, there's no motion right now, is there?
Yeah, there is.
I'd like a recorded vote, please.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Policy 8324, public notification, annual financial statements and auditors report.
So, Mayor Deck, members of the council, his administration is requesting that council give policy GA 3-24 public notification, annual financial statements and auditors report. Is obviously looking to make sure that we're being able to make sure the information is available to the public, in due course, once the information is received by council and from our auditor, to make sure that this policy just stipulates where that information will be posted and made available to the public, and when they would, when it would be done within a time frame. So that's the essence of the policy.
I'll make the motion for council to approve policy GA 83-24, public notification, annual financial statements and auditors report.
Questions? Amber?
Does this supersede a bylaw currently, or is this a new one?
This is actually a policy, not a bylaw.
Oh, pardon me. Does it supersede one?
No.
There wasn't.
There was never one.
But we just had a practice of what we would do if we post it.
How come this is what's created now? Just out of curiosity.
It does replace a previous policy that stated we would make an advertisement in a newspaper for 2 weeks. So this way we make sure that we are advertising in a way that's current with today's practices.
And can you just draw my attention to how we're going to make that information public if we're not going to put it in the newspaper?
Because not a lot of people receive the newspaper anymore, so it'll be posted on our website, probably posted on our Facebook page. It's in accordance with our notification bylaw.
Yep.
So we will post our financial statements in accordance with our public notification bylaw.
So shouldn't we put in this policy wherever it's going to be posted?
The problem when you put something in a policy and if you change a bylaw, then you've got to remember to go back and change the policy. So the policy states that we will follow according to the public notification bylaw. The public notification bylaw says we will make things noticed through our electronic sign, on our Facebook page, through our website, through all the ways that we notify the public now.
Okay. Well, in here though, it says an auditor's report of the financial statements available to the public in the manner council considers appropriate.
Mm-hmm. So if council chooses to do it in another way, as well as our public notification bylaw, council can make that motion.
That's over and above what is in the bylaw.
I find it very unfortunate that we only get the agenda packages 24 hours in advance, because there's a lot of information in this. Okay.
All in favor?
Recorded, please.
All opposed? 11.7, rescind old policies.
Yes.
The motion you have before you, council, is to rescind policies that are either covered by other means, they are covered under other legislation, no longer required, but policies have to be rescinded in the same way they came forward, which was by motion of council.
Maureen?
I move that council rescind policies GA4-01, GA9-01, GA23-01, GA24-01, GA25-01, GA26-01, and PS7-01.
For everyone in the audience, the corresponding policies are our accident management policy. It's now covered by our procedures, are covered in policy PP 5-20. Next is our insurance coverage. It's covered in our facilities handbook. Municipal safety policy is also covered in our policy PP 5-20. Risk management policy, again, PP 5-20. We harmonized a whole bunch. Personal safety policy or personal policy statement covered in PP 5-20. Days of leave, that's covered by the Alberta Employment Standards Code and it regulates statutory holidays. And remuneration of safety codes officers, it's covered by the bylaw on P1 3-2 of our fire inspection fees. All those in favor?
Recorded, please.
All those opposed? Staff reports.
No, are you going to?
Oh, sorry, Amber.
No, that's okay. Chris, just so that I'm clear, I would like to make a motion to reconsider the agenda as amended. Is that what I'm supposed to? Basically, I had an agenda item that I was going to put on. I thought that I could incorporate it in one of our discussions, and I'd like to put it back on now. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I just want to put back the
Is
agenda item.
that's the motion?
That's the motion. It's a motion to reconsider, Your Honor.
Okay. And it takes 2/3, which is 5, for it to reopen the agenda. All in favor? All opposed?
Yeah.
Defeated. Staff reports.
With that is Stephanie.
Mayor Deck, members of council, so today is Pink Shirt Day. It's lovely to see everyone. I just want to thank everyone who was able to participate in showing our support against bullying. Family Day events were well attended, even with the beautiful weather we had during that time. So thank you for everyone that came out to that. I just wanted to, with the snowfall, make acknowledgement to our snow angels in our community, which are members who help a neighbor in need by shoveling their snow. Residents can share a snow angel sighting by sending a Facebook message to our Gibbons Alberta page, or also you can call the GFRC at the 923-2374. And I've seen lots of posts personally going on lately with a lot of people stepping up and helping one another in the community, so it's just a really positive boost that is nice to see. Again, our GFRC is hosting 3 income tax clinics in March and April, and right now we're still currently accepting applications for all of our seasonal summer positions.
Winnie.
Mayor Deck, members of council, Corporate Services has been finalizing our 2024 assessment, and today I received the last little bit. So we will be working on preparing the final, and assessment notices should be going out within the next week to 10 days. We've been working on 2023 year end for the final audit and our 2024 capital budget, working on final reports for 2023 grants and 2024 grant applications, and working on a council report re borrowing and financing. So as part of my report, I would like to present and to read out some information of clarity for council on the town borrowings and where we are, what they are, how much we pay, when they end, and what some of those borrowings could mean for the town.
Is this gonna be attached on the?
This will be posted on the website after it's been presented to council.
Okay, but this wasn't on the agenda.
It's part of administration.
It's part of my report.
Oh, okay.
So
But it'll be online, people can find it?
We will put it online.
Okay.
Bylaw MOG 1-08 is a long-term borrowing bylaw for $2,200,000. 25-year debenture for the replacement and increased capacity of the town's sewer outfall line. A cost that was added to local taxpayers, this benefits the whole town. The amount that is outstanding as of February 28th is $1,147,917.86. The principal and interest that we pay yearly is $151,751.96, and the interest that we are charged is 4.781%. The debenture will be paid off on the 16th of June, 2033. The next one is bylaw MOG 1-17, again, long-term borrowing bylaw for $2,544,000. This is a 10-year debenture for the upgrade and replacement of the Gibbons Arena ice plant in the amount of $1.4 million, replacement of the outdoor ice arena and installation of the heated change rooms, $602,000, renovations to the Gibbons Resource Center, $200,000, addition to the fitness equipment of $250,000. A cost added to the local taxpayer as it benefits the whole town. Outstanding amount as of February 28, $1,094,957.63. Where yearly interest and principal payments $289,563.20. Interest 2.532%. This debenture will be paid off on the 15th of December 2027. Bylaw ALT 3-19, again, a long-term borrowing bylaw for $2,086,386. This is a 15-year debenture to cover the installation of the underground services and construction of road, sidewalks, curb and gutter for the Heartland Meadows, covered by a local improvement tax on the 39 lots in that subdivision. No cost to the local taxpayer. At the end of February, $1,597,943.51. Yearly interest and principal, $165,229.24. Interest, 2.298. It will expire 16th of September, 2034. Bylaw Alt 5-21, short-term borrowing bylaw, $705,000. 5-year debenture to cover the cost of the installation of new water meters throughout the whole community. A cost added to the local taxpayers. This benefits the whole town. At the end of February, $433,379.91. Payments yearly, $150,793 due. Interest 2.48. It will expire December 15, 2026. Bylaw Alt 3-23, short-term borrowing bylaw, $250,000. 5-year debenture to cover the cost of the new grader. A cost added to the local taxpayers. This benefits the whole town. Outstanding at the end of February, $227,710. Principal and interest, $57,203.20. Interest, 5.05, will expire 15th of June, 2028. Bylaw 6, Alt 6-23, long-term borrowing bylaw, $3,600,000. 15-year debenture to cover the cost of installation of the underground services and construction of the road, sidewalks, and curb and gutter for the Heartland Station project and the highway access, accel and decel lanes and lights for the 50.5 subdivision owned by Landrex, covered by local improvement tax on the 4.5 acres and the Landrex 50.5 acres in that development. No cost to the local taxpayer. $3,600,000 owing at the end of February. Payment yearly, $347,724.13. Interest, 5.15%. Will expire December 15, 2038. Bylaw Alt 2-24, local improvement tax bylaw for $10,343.44. 10-year debenture to cover the installation of services, roads, including curb and gutter, under 36 lots in Heartland Cottage, covered by local improvement tax to the 36 lots, no cost to the taxpayer. Of course, the full amount is outstanding. We don't have an interest rate yet, because we haven't negotiated that. Bylaw Alt 3-24, short-term borrowing bylaw, $951,967. 5-year debenture to cover the cost of improving and safeguarding the sewer facilities of the Tone subdivision. Should the bank slough further into the Sturgeon River, a cost added to the local taxpayer, full amount is outstanding. Bylaw Alt 6-24, short-term borrowing bylaw, $630,832. 5-year debenture to cover the cost of the new fire truck. Cost of the new fire truck is $790,832. $160,000 of MSI capital is being paid for a portion. The remaining is being financed. This item has been in the town's capital budget since 2022. A cost added to the local taxpayer, full amount outstanding. So there was $20,199,937.71 in borrowings. We owed at the end of February $12,695,051.35. Our yearly payments $1,162,265.65. The town's debt limit changes from time to time because at the beginning of the year it is calculated at 1.5 times last year's revenues. The revenues, according to financial statements at the beginning of 2023, were $10,106,065. At 1.5 times equals a debt limit of $15,159,097.50. At the beginning of 2024, the town had $9,581,905.80 in debentures and lines of credit with the borrowing as per all 224 to the town was at 83.09% of its borrowing power. In early February, part of the operating line was paid, increasing the town's debt limit. As of February 14th, the town's debt limit was at $12,345,205.80 when bylaw Alt 3-24 and 6-24 were presented to council, reducing the town's available debt to $301,709.86. In 2024, as the town pays down the debt, this allows to increase the available debt that is available to the town. The debt limit is not a static thing, it is fluid. Every time a borrowing bylaw is proposed, the debt limit calculations are redone. The benefits of borrowing. Heartland Meadows. In 2018, this parcel was assessed at $333,780. Now it has been developed into 39 lots at an average of, the average is using the existing houses that are built there. $438,514 per lot, which means using that average for the termite line lots will give a new assessment of $17,102,057.31. As at the 2023 mill rate of 7.69 would generate $131,631.74 of new taxes to the town. After 10 years, that's $1,316,317. The town purchased this property in 2019. Prior to that, the tax revenue from this property was $3,487.87. So in 10 years, that would have generated $34,878.10, which is 73.5% increase in 1 year's tax levy once it's all authorized. The cottage subdivision. In 2022, this area was assessed at $84,910. Now, once it's developed into 36 lots at an average of $300,000 a lot, will bring in $10,800,000. At the 2023 mill rate, it would generate $83,125.84 of new taxes, which after 10 years is $831,000. The town purchased this property in 2021. Prior to that, the tax revenue from this property was $4,918, which would be only $49,000 a year. Heartland Station, 4.5 acres, purchased by the town in 2018. Assessment then was $289,380, and the tax that the town received was $2,227.31. The 2024 assessment presently, and remember it's only half completed, is $4,685,080. At the commercial mill rate, this property will generate $66,894. Over 10 years, $668,994. This property has also generated at least 35 new part-time and full-time jobs. The 4 subdivisions in 2019, oh, pardon, there's another subdivision before I can continue. Heartland Homestead subdivision. In 2023, this subdivision was assessed at $70,330, which generated $902 in taxes. This subdivision is slated for 200 housing units at an average of $300,000 per unit. That's $60 million in new assessment. At the present residential mill rate of 2023, that's $461,810 in yearly tax dollars. So these 4 subdivisions in 2019 had a combined assessed value of $778,400. Once completed, they will have a minimum assessed value of $93,587,137, an increase of $91,808,737. Please be reminded that this is only an estimate. It will be greater because the 4.5 acres is only completed. These increased assessment numbers would generate in the neighborhood of $706,637 of new municipal taxes every year. Presently, the town has 1,238 residential units, and on February 27, there were 10 listings for sale. 2 were vacant residential, 4 were new homes between $350,000 to $599,000, and 4 homes between $205,000 to $430,000. And in my research, the DFRC receives approximately 24 rental inquiries for affordable, accessible rentals monthly. There are no accessible, affordable rentals in the town of Gibbons. So is my report.
Thank you, Mindy.
I have a question.
Go ahead,
Can
Amber.
somebody refresh my memory what the homestead subdivision is, please?
The homestead subdivision is the 58 acres that are just out on the south end and just west of the landing trail estate. With the servicing that we're looking to do, that'll be coming online, and actually they'll start construction as soon as with the servicing. We're not doing that; they are doing it.
Who's they?
Homestead Land Developments.
Okay. But nothing's started yet, right?
Right. Because of course we're looking to put the servicing in there, the large scale servicing.
This is just a projection.
No, oh no, I realize that this is a lot of information and numbers. I just was a little confused as to why we were. I mean, we're putting numbers in on something that there's been no shovels in the ground yet, right? Okay, no, I'll leave this. This has to be. Okay.
Well, we still have the Heartland Station, and I mean, that's something that, shovels in the ground, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, looking at that 668,000, and I do recall there was some engineering issues that we lost a lot of money on.
Okay.
So that offset this cost, right? It could have been greatly higher, basically. For me, I appreciate an estimate. It kind of gives me a little bit more strategic direction on some thoughts. But, that information regarding the 24 rental inquiries for affordable housing in Gibbons, to me, that's huge, because one of the things that I put my platform on was growth for the town and to offset our taxes with that growth. I'll still stand behind that. And then hearing that there's not many houses listed for sale, and I don't know if you've ever driven around Gibbons, but the minute it's on sale, it's already sold within a certain period of time.
We get a question going
So
on, Jay.
my question is, if we don't focus on investing on the growth of Gibbons, we're gonna miss that shortfall. And that's what I'm worried about in providing residential communities for people that want to live here. So, thank you.
Do you have a question, Jay?
My question at the end of this is, actually, no, I don't. I'll leave it. Louise.
Mayor Deck, members of council. Save the date notices have gone out, or they will be going out tomorrow for the third annual Charity Golf Classic. Also, I've set a date for the business breakfast. It'll be March 20th. As soon as I confirm with Coach's Corner, because they'll be doing the breakfast this time. The red carpet event for the fishing movie has been set for August 3rd. There'll be more information coming out shortly. Municipal Planning Services is putting together a letter to be sent out to all the residents with their water bills concerning the rewrite and review of the land use bylaw. There will be something coming to council within probably the next 2 months. But we need to get information out to the public so they know what's going on. That's all.
Thanks, Louise. Eric.
Next, members of council. Water meter installation, going great. The most we installed in one day so far is 6. We've been using electronic signs, and people have been calling us and getting these meters installed, so we're on a good roll. And then it snowed. So we had a major storm, and snow removal is in full swing, so I'll just give council a quick brief on how we operate on that. The crew come in approximately 5:45 on Monday morning to start work at 6 a.m. We do our main routes. We come across 53rd Ave, down 51st Street, all the way to Landing Trail School. We go from Main Street, from 28A all the way to Highway 28, open the main arteries out of town. We do, with the plow truck and the grader during a big storm like that, we do the streets like 51st and 44th, where there's a medium in the middle where we can put the snow on there. We're not blocking cars in. We cannot do streets like 47th and things like that, because if we do, we're going to plow vehicles in and they won't be able to get out, and they have to shovel the windrow of large snow to get out. So then we start picking our snow, and that started yesterday with Main Street, getting all that done, and we did 47th Street, 44th Ave, London, 51st Street today. Tomorrow, it's garbage day, so we always do Birch, because pickup in the rear alley, so we can get Birch done in that area and there, and a few off street. And we'll just carry on with subdivisions as we go. We never start at the same subdivision, so that way Stephanie doesn't say, oh, my subdivision's on first all the time. So we swap it around. We might do Brumpet the first time, and then maybe Williams Park the next, and maybe Riverview start there the next time. So we aren't separating and trying to keep it even. And while that's going on, my crew was out also doing sidewalks, which have to be cleared within 72 hours by law in town, so we get that started right away and onto that. So the crew works pretty hard and getting it cleared pretty quick, as quick as we possibly can. That's what we do with snow removal. Fire department, calls have been down a little this year, 21 towns. County calls are at 23. Membership is still at 27. Level 1 training is ongoing. And then the health minister was here, made an announcement for the at the Gibbons Fire Hall on medical first responders funding, which was really good. They asked if they could come, and of course I'm not going to refuse a minister to come and announce something in our town. It just promotes us. And then 2 days later, due to medical first responders, we had to go to the medical clinic. A gentleman was having I think his pulse rate was about 220. He was on the verge of collapsing, and the ambulance was 15 minutes out. Wow. So that's why we're medical first responders. We can get on there with the trained personnel and help them. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay, this is not, it's not on. It's meeting one. Eric, I drove down the veterans, the road in front of, the Family Resource Center and the Legion. Only one side was done on that road. The one side, the Legion side wasn't done and it wasn't plowed, and the other side was.
I'll have to find out why.
Okay.
I do not know, Councilor Harris.
Good, thank you.
Maybe the luck of the draw, the grader might have been on his way back and dropped his blade
Okay.
and cleared one side to get it done.
It's
later.
the Legion area that the front, because
Yeah.
there's the handicap park is over on the road there. That's the one that, okay, reason for
Yeah,
that.
we try to get as many as we can, but we only got X amount of people and.
Oh, sure.
Can't
No,
worry
I
about
was just worried, I was just asking why one side was done and not, it's the Legion that I was sort of concerned about. Thank you.
Okay. Project updates, cottage subdivisions, we're still, start date is to be determined. Memorial Park.
No new updates since last meeting.
In Heartland Station, I tried to get a hold of Stuart, he worked for Park Pacific, and I couldn't get a hold of him trying to find out when A&W is actually gonna be open. So I'm still, looking at that. As soon as I find out, I will let you know. Grocery store construction is supposed to start mid-March, but if we get more snow, which I want for fire season, so there is a reason why I want snow. And, that might be delayed, and, retail unit construction expected to start mid-May.
And that members of council, just an update on the announcement from Minister Andrea LaGrange. That announcement was very beneficial to the town of Gibbons. If you recall, the town have been sending invoices to Alberta Health Services for the fact that our fire department does respond to medical assist calls. The town has submitted at the instruction of Alberta Health Services 2 invoices that total $23,458, which will be paid before the end of March. And then with the new fiscal year, we will be instructed as to how much. So this is new money that was not budgeted for.
But it's also going to be annual money.
It's annual, yes it is.
Nice.
Need a motion to accept this information? Thank you, Jay. All in favor? Carried. Committee reports. Mark.
Okay, I attended the Emerging Trends with Brownlee. February 18th, I went cookies with council, and February 21 to 23rd, I was with the governance review with the Water Commission.
Let's see, February 15th, Emerging Trends, February 18th, Cookies with Council, and February 22nd, Alberta Industrial Heartland Update.
Nothing to report.
Maureen?
On February 15th, I attended Emerging Trends in Municipal Law in the city. On February 18th, I also took part in the Cookies for Council portion of Family Day celebrations. On the 21st of February, I attended the funding announcement at the fire department and really appreciate that money that is coming to us. On the 22nd of February, I attended the Homeland Housing Board meeting. And just for everybody's just general information, Homeland Housing is now taking over the management of the Smoky Lake Foundation, and also, I can't remember the name of it, but the foundation that is in the Thorhild region. I think New Thorad, I believe is the name of it. So this is a feather in the cap of our executive manager. He is very good at what he does, and these smaller foundations are turning to him for assistance. They have a lot of difficulty hiring knowledgeable CAOs. Their foundations are smaller, so they can't afford to pay somebody big dollars. So they're turning to him to assist with the management. bottom line is Homeland Housing is being managed very well. On February the 23rd, I took part in the Northern Lights Library System meeting, and the big news out of there is that Northern Lights has received substantial funding from the province to encourage the development of libraries and library boards on reserves and Métis settlements. And there are about 5, I could name them all, but I won't bother you with that are either already on board and have a library that's operational or are in the process of doing that. And also Legal has finally identified a place for a library. They are one of the last in the region, which I found rather interesting. Last night I was at the Gibbons Library Board meeting, and our library board, as usual, is gung-ho. They are looking at a wide range of new programming over this coming year, so pay attention, there's more coming. One of the biggest things that they are investigating is a program that is offered by the Dolly Parton Foundation. And if that is successful, what it would result in is the families that become part of it would receive a children's book every month for 5 years, basically for their child all the way from 1 to school age. And that would be absolutely wonderful. And that's it.
Jay?
On February 18, I attended the Family Day community event at the GCC and was part of the Cookies Council. It was great interaction with our residents and the families that were there. I even noticed that the Gibbons Library changed things up and started giving away books. So it was great to see that, for obviously providing that part that I never got to see before. So it was great to see everybody. Even had a cotton candy machine that everybody loved, and kids were starting to run a lot faster than normal after that.
Bill?
On February 15th, I attended Emerging Trends with Brownlee. On the 18th, I also attended Cookies with Council. On February 21st, I attended the Minister of Health announcement at the Fire Hall. And on the 22nd, I also attended the Alberta Industrial Heartland webinar.
All right, traveling back in time to January 25th, on the 25th, I attended the Global Edmonton Shareholder Meeting, where I was appointed to the ad hoc committee on evaluating the path forward for Edmonton Global. It's interesting that we have some members who have served notice that they might be leaving the organization. This has been done before. It's a 2-year exit process. The last time the last municipality went to leave, they joined back up within 8 months, so it didn't change anything. But this may help enhance the structure of Global and their path forward. On the 31st, I attended the Hydrogen Hub Fuel Cell for Refuse Trucks, which is really a European initiative. At the present time, there isn't anything like it in Canada for hydrogen fuel cells for garbage trucks. It was interesting, but not very pertinent to the area. At a meeting with the Spartans Hockey Club on the February 1st, they're very happy with their ability to be here in Gibbons. They love Gibbons, and they intend to be here for a long, long time. February 5th, as part of the working group of Edmonton Global, we had our first meeting. That same day, I attended the Sturgeon Regional Emergency Management Partnership, SHREMP for short. We had a guest from the government, John Swiss. We were talking a lot about the upcoming wildfire season. If you don't know, we are too dry. This snow is not going to make a lot of difference if it's past melt, because it will all run off. We probably need 3 to 4 inches of rain in mid-April, and it's got to get into the ground. And that would be just the tip of the iceberg, because we are if anyone's traveled into provincially, you know the volume of water is very low. So I know Chief's working with and doing Fire Smart. There's a lot of things we've got to be prepared for. Some of our outlying communities may get hit really hard again, unfortunately. On February 6th, attended Gibbons School for their local government with grade 6s, myself and Council Kozak, which is one of the fun events of the year. The kids had some very interesting and thought-provoking questions, and it's just a really good day to interact with the kids because they're doing governance as part of their history. On the 16th, I had another Edmonton Global meeting. On the 18th, after I'd returned from a vacation, cookies with council. On the 20th or 21st, we had the medical first responders announcement with Minister LaGrange. Dale Nally was here as the MC. This is a really good thing. Over $3 million are going out to municipalities who are providing this level of service. We have over 400 fire departments that do medical first responder, and there's still a few hundred volunteer services that don't. And the value for us in the outlying and in the rural areas is huge, especially in the Golden Hour. So the money that'll come for training and for actual equipment is a real bonus, and it's nice to see the government step up and start covering some of this. On February 22nd, attended the AIHA Industrial Update, and on February 26th, again, another Edmonton Global meeting. And that ends my report.
I'll make a motion to accept this information.
All in favor? We are adjourned.